I like to think of dance and the body as like, the body is your vessel, right? And there's a lot of things that you don't say with words that will always be translated through your body.
I kind of just like music as it comes to me. I like the music to like flow through me versus me necessarily reading too much into the music. I think just simple, comfortable, just feel good. Not anything too complicated, but just enough to like get my body moving through the space, I think is very much who I am as a person, just kind of like to take things as they come.
Dance with another person heavily relies on you being aware of the space you're taking up and your interactions with the other person. Obviously, you don't want to hit them, but it's also conveying a message. It's a conversation of sorts. You're trying to incorporate your emotion into your performance. You're trying to incorporate a message into your performance. And if you're not really in tune with your partner or partners in a performance, then it's not going to come across that way. So you're trying to make sure that there's something cohesive.
Growing up at a competition dance studio or just being on a competition team, a lot of it is naturally about performing. It's about performing to the crowd and the judges. My first interaction to something that was a little bit more conversational was improv. Just kind of playing around in the studio, turning the lights down halfway, and kind of just dancing for you, for the movement quality versus dancing for right or wrong. And I think it became a conversation intrinsically within myself and understanding what feels good, what doesn't, really listening to the music, what kind of conversation is the music having with me and my body. And then later on we moved on to like improv with other people, contact improv, lifts, what exactly us touching other people and moving through other people means. So I think that was kind of the first time that I was introduced to dance as an idea of conversation and not so much as for entertainment.
It's kind of giving yourself up. You're letting yourself be vulnerable enough to be seen. If you're not aware of the emotion that you're feeling, it's not going to come across on stages at all. And when you are aware and you're processing an emotion or you're feeling something that you know you want to convey, it's almost like it's escaping out of you in a way, where you're leaving it all on the stage. You're putting everything out there.
Well, I think as a Black woman, my body is always being policed and has always historically been policed. So I think of dance as my way to fight that. That's like my resistance to whatever the world is putting on me. And I'm always using dance to understand myself, to understand my family, my circumstances, and then also to understand my ancestors, because I'm of the mind that your body carries so much. Your body carries trauma, your body carries the past, and like I am living. So much of me is living through them. Like there's them in me. It's hard to say it, but like they are in me. So every time I'm dancing, I'm trying to find them, and then like how can I honor them, and how do we push forward, and how do we release some of this like stress and weight that's on me.
Dance is only as much of a conversation or a language when someone is willing to speak it and when someone is willing to hear it. And those are the fundamental parts of conversation. If you have someone who is unwilling to listen, who's not open to hearing that or seeing that performance and enjoying it as a conversation, then it's gonna go unheard. But if you have someone who's willing to be vulnerable, who's willing to be all these things I've said, then you have the language being spoken. And it is this, again, like I said, emotional catharsis. You're being vulnerable and giving something up. And if you're unwilling to do that, or if you're hesitant to do that, then nothing's gonna be said.
I once heard that when the agenda takes over, that's when you lose the like authenticity in your dancing. So whenever I feel myself approaching that, I hope this happens, or it would be cool if we did this, how can I make this happen? That's when I'm like, oh, you need to take a step back, because there's so much happening in this world. Like you're building so much in this, and your own ideas, your own agenda will ruin it and take it down. So I think also that listening is what allows you to lead when you're dancing as well, because you have to be able to say like, what does this piece need versus what do I want from it? So just knowing like your values, what you're searching for isn't always what you're gonna get in a dance.
understanding where the natural pauses are, just like you would have a conversation with a partner in class, or like a family member. Whenever things kind of lull, that's kind of your opportunity to jump in. Sometimes there are moments where a conversation can build on top of each other, like two people are joking and you add onto a joke and riff off of each other. That also happens in movement, so it's not necessarily one person pulls, the other pushes, and then vice versa. Sometimes things kind of layer on top of each other, and sometimes there are real moments of stillness and almost awkwardness. So I think just listening to where things are natural and making sure that you're like reading the person's body language and kind of seeing where your moments are to step in, but also sometimes there is no perfect balance, and I'm always learning it. But I think kind of playing around with the idea of like not necessarily having a balance and what that can mean. So I'm definitely still learning to balance, but there are different ways to showcase it that might not be typical in terms of like equally balancing listening and leading between your partner. It's not always going to be equal.
Silence and stillness are when you're processing, when you're giving yourself a minute to breathe, when you're allowing yourself just to rest and feel everything around you. In my opinion, the silence and stillness hits the most when you can see the dancer stopping, taking a moment just to feel everything around them, to feel the music, to feel the stillness of the air, to take a deep breath and catch their breath. Because you can't have this emotional catharsis, you can't have this performance without those minutes of rest, or moments of rest and like reprieve.
I think dance can be a universal language, but I think that a lot of the key factors, like for me, I might understand what somebody is saying through, for example, contemporary dance or Western styles of dance. However, our body language and what body language indicates to like who you're speaking with is different based on every culture. So I feel like sometimes it can get lost in translation a little bit. Like more like inward movements can mean one thing for one group of people and they can mean another thing for another group of people. Being loud can be cheerful for one person and it can be intimidating for another. So I think sometimes it can kind of get lost, and I think that's the beauty of dance. It kind of represents how we are as people and how we kind of branch off. I think it is really nice though that you feel something regardless of if you truly understand it or not. I think that's kind of like how we understand each other walking through life. Like there's a lot of misunderstandings with people in your class, people you see at the grocery store. Like it's just like any other language. It can be easily misunderstood. So I wouldn't say it's a universal language in the terms that everybody is going to understand what you mean exactly, but I think it's just something that touches everyone, regardless of if it's the intended purpose or not.
I think dance is a universal language because I like when people say dance is the first art form to exist, because if nothing else, we have our bodies. Like we're our own individual spirits and souls, but the body is our vessel and that's how we move. So if nothing else, like the body is going to communicate what you don't say with your words, and that's what makes it a universal language. But then there is the side of, if you view dance and movement from your perspective solely, then you lose the ability to make it universal. Anytime you try to like look at someone else's dance traditions and say, well, that doesn't make sense to me because we don't do it, that's when you lose it. But if you're just appreciating the movement for what it is in front of you, then it's universal, because dance comes from your environment, it comes from your physical body, it comes from the things that people have said to you, where you've been, like all these things. And in many cultures, dance isn't a performance, it's just a practice, it's a way of life. Like if you haven't danced in your day is not complete. If you haven't danced in the year, then the year is not complete. So in that way, I think dance is very universal.